Yes, hello guys, and welcome to Creative 971. Today we will be talking about Shopify e-commerce license and especially about misunderstandings for license type and company setup within the UAE. We have our trusted partner Carl with us, and he will be highlighting a lot of insights about what is going on in the market, in the region. So first of all, Carl, what are the most common mistakes which actually an entrepreneur or even an SME company might take if they would approach your company? And first of all, you will introduce who you are to our audience as well.
Sure. Good afternoon. My name is Carl. I'm the founder of Trade License Zone. We are a corporate service provider. In a more simple term, we are basically a group of experienced consultants that guide people through how to set up their business the best way in the UAE after looking at what components are important to them. There's a lot of information available in the market today as far as setting up your company. E-commerce in specific, there's a lot of corporate service providers. There's up to 45, 46 different free zones you can choose from in the UAE. There's of course the mainland or the onshore setup. There is how do you set up if you already have an international company. There's a great many questions. As far as the misconceptions, I think a lot of people get tied down by what is legal, what's not legal. There's a lot of people that give advice about company setup that really focus the client on what's legal, what's not legal, what's possible, what's not possible. Which that is important, of course, but that's not the main element to consider when you're setting up your company. E-commerce, we've seen over the last few years as a business activity, has really spiked. There's a lot of people with e-commerce ideas, and it's one of those business activities actually where you can have an idea and you can have a business set up and running within 48 hours legally. And you have a trade license, you can open a business bank account and off you go. Because depending on how you intend to set up this business, actually in many cases you don't need manpower, you don't need office space, don't need all of the traditional elements when setting up a business. We talk to customers on a daily basis, and I would say at least half of our customers every week is considering opening up an e-commerce company. As I said, the popularity has really spiked with elements which you've explained to me already. Drop ship and the way you can do things as far as logistics when you set up an e-commerce company to make life a lot easier and more cost effective for the first time starter. We deal with companies that want to move to the UAE. We deal with people that's got a day job, that's starting to try out e-commerce to see how it will go for them in the future. And there's a great many ways to set up your company. Apart from just looking at what you can do, what you can't do, it's really what do you require? Do you require office space? Do you require employees from day one? Do you intend, one of the golden rules is who are you going to sell your product to? Who's your market? Who's your audience, in other words? Who's going to buy your product? Who's going to buy your service? And from there you choose the appropriate business activity, and from there you choose where you set up your company. In this case, e-commerce, I would say simpler than most, but there's a wide range when setting up your entity as an e-commerce company. The most basic form of it is just a trade license through a free zone, which can cost you 12,750 dirhams a year. With that, you can literally be up and running within 2 days. You have a business license, you can open a corporate bank account, and off you go. You can start your new business. Of course, if you need employees, you need office space, you have a specific product that needs a specific logistics arm to it, then it gets a bit more complex. But I also use the word complex lightly because there are solutions for each and every way. If your product that you intend to sell is ties, for instance, your company setup would be different than when it is apples or fruit. I don't know if that's even helpful, but in all these cases there's different ways to look at it. Again, the best way we can help you, I can share with you today the basics all day long, but the best way is to come and see us. We're very accessible online in human form in our office down in Dubai Media City. Get in touch with us, come and sit with us for half an hour. It costs you absolutely nothing apart from your taxi trip there. We'll give you a coffee without charging you for it, and really help you through your concerns. People are concerned about a great many things, which actually it turns out they don't need to be concerned about. So come and see us, we'll help you the best way to set up your individual business.
Perfect. And for our audience, what we have based on our multiple meetups what we're running and 3 years running the agency, we're actually engaging a lot of startups and meet a lot of startups and their hurdles. So one of the questions what actually we have, or what our audience would help a lot, is how could they do it right? I know there is a lot of information out there, but what is your most common points of misunderstanding? Let's say you're setting up hundreds of licenses monthly with your company based in Dubai. So is there something which you could give to our audience as a tip, or to say, actually guys, this is a don't, this is a do, this is something what they can gain immediately knowledge and access, even just as a broader understanding?
Sure. I think the biggest misconception is, apart from the fact that people think it's terribly complex, is that it's very expensive. For certain e-commerce is one business activity, but it really again depends what your product and who are you selling it to. If you intend to handle the products, then you need what is commonly known as a mainland license, which is a bit more costly as far as the infrastructure that's attached to it, office space, employing people and so on. And then you can really, through a free zone, start for less than 13,000 dirhams and build from there as you go forward. I think those are the two main things people get stuck with. They get misinformed because someone might be pushing a certain agenda at that point in time. So people get extremely confused because of it's a good thing when there's a lot of information in the market about a certain topic, but it's also a bad thing because it confuses people unnecessarily. And then the second thing is where they think it's extremely expensive. It really doesn't need to be. The e-commerce industry in specific has come a long way to offer you things like dropship and a great many other things which Creative 971 absolute experts in, which actually leads me to my question for Nico, which we get every other day with customers. What is the main components? Today I see a beautiful tie when I'm on holiday somewhere and I decide I want to import this tie because I've never seen it in the UAE. Come back here, I know I need a trade license at some point. What else do I need?
I mean, from our perspective, it's very important. We are in UAE regulated, so we need to have, first of all, the license.
Sure.
With a license, you will be allowed to get your payment gateway, one of the payment gateways which you might choose. Then you would need to set up a website. Right, we're working on Shopify, which is a very easy startup-friendly environment, which you can take themes, you can get your setup done.
Sure.
The next part would be you need to have a delivery, fulfillment, logistics partner, depending, as you said, what kind of free zone license you take, or maybe onshore you take, you would actually require to have one. Which one of the very good ones would be Fetcher, which we can recommend. And based on that, it's a lot about content, it's a lot about marketing, it's a lot about ongoing parts. But for all of these, we actually have combined even together a comprehensive online training academy, which you can even check up downstairs, which you will get every single insightful information about how you scale your company in a very detailed manner. And but these would be the components. I mean, one question what we had, because we had like the last meetup, like 3-4 questions came up, is how is it regulated? Let's say we're talking about a free zone. What is a free zone specific? I mean, for sure it belongs to UAE government. How is it backed up? Who is the free zone holder? You mentioned like even before that you are having like a master license, which is something very, very exclusive, and it stands your company out compared to a lot of service agencies out there. So just to highlight that our audience might understand, okay, what is a master license? What do you do? How secure is actually a free zone? How is it regulated? This would be something which we could quickly highlight as well.
Sure, very good. And we also face these questions. Free zones, essentially, if you rewind perhaps 15 or 18 or maybe even 20 years or 30 years, when the UAE started doing business, I guess, is that a lot of expats came to the UAE to set up businesses, whether it was branch of an international company and so on and so forth. In the early days, you had to have a local partner, which is a mainland license, and that was the only way to set up a business. Soon the government realized you're not going to attract foreign investment because a lot of people want to own their business 100%. They then rolled out what is globally known as economic free zones. So the UAE today has got 45 to 46 free zones available. In the early days, they've started forming clusters. So you'll find Dubai Media City, Dubai Internet City, of course Media City as it would suggest for media companies, Internet City for internet companies, Knowledge Village for training and education companies, and from there it just snowballed, as they say. All these free zones are also government authorities. So at the end of the day, it's totally secure. It's run by the government, it's regulated by the government. You're not going to lose your money or your setup or anything like that. It's just, again, for every individual to understand what is the best place for them to set up their business is to understand their requirement from A to Z. Are they opening a branch of a foreign office? Are they starting a brand new business? Are they, a sole owner? What is their future plan for the business? And then also to mention, to change from one free zone to another, or from upgrade, I guess, which is one of a better word, from a free zone to a mainland. It's not that complex. It's all very much doable. It's not that you're going to buy a business setup solution today and then 2 years later, when you need to make a change for whatever reason, that it's the end of the world. No, we can definitely help you with all of those scenarios.
Yeah, it sounds perfect. I mean, from our side, as mentioned before, we have a very in-depth analysis. This was just like a quick highlight for you to really shed light into one of the very complex and crucial parts, because imagine if you're might be with an agency which would overcharge you, or maybe the upfront cost would be a 30, 40, 50,000 dirham, which actually doesn't need to be anymore, right? That money can be way more used in a way of building a website, running the marketing, understanding way more, and all of these parts with a very inside knowledge of whether it's reputed like companies and of ourselves, of Shopify. And this is something what we put together in our class. Please check it out as well, and you can subscribe to that.